Hi, to the Data Science Conference Austria community attendees, um, distinguished guests. We're very happy today to have Mr. Mario Meir-Huber from 1 Telekom Austria Group. He's current now having the role of Head of Big Data and Analytics and AI. And I know Mario since many years, co-working within several companies, but as well from different roles. So he's a very well-known expert from his field, and we're extremely happy to have him here today. Thank you, Mario, for taking the time. Actually, we wanted to talk about today the enterprise data strategy, majorly, I guess, on the corporate side as well, and discuss and find some new knowledge and new findings about this topic in this very field. So. Let's get started. Mario, any beginning words from your side, like starting word, hello, or something like that to the community?
Of course, I want to say hello first. So hello, Alin and Alexander and Mario for the invitation. And yes, I have to correct Alin with one announcement. Before we get deep into the topic, I will leave A1 and change to a large Austrian financial institution. So I will need your consultancy at the long time, as you are coming from out of one of them. So I need some insights there. So to make the story short and to have this publicly announced before it's going on LinkedIn in some time. Yes, but basically I will also be in charge of the same thing. So I will also talk about the enterprise data strategy. And yes, let's jump into the topic. And I think from the overview, you might have some questions at the very beginning, Alin, and I would probably rather first listen to your questions and then let's start the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I gave you the floor because I knew that something new is coming. So you announced it already. So nevertheless, I mean, coming from that very field and being a very well-known expert in data-driven topics, what have been in recent years, and especially in these times, the biggest challenges of us enterprise data strategic approach that you are undertaking? What are the biggest challenges?
Well, I think we only have half an hour, right? So when we talk about the biggest challenges, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to data, it's mainly a technology topic, but not only a technology topic. It's heavily tied to digitalization, and it's the main driver for digitalization, because without data, you cannot digitalize anything. So you need to tightly couple everything that comes with data with everything that comes with digital. And this is quite a challenge, because enterprise corporations, which have been here in Austria and in Europe around for decades, they are often not good when it comes to understanding what digitalization means, what data means, the complexity around it. So management often makes decisions because their gut feelings is telling them something. And people who are working in this topic, especially data scientists, data engineers, they easily get frustrated. So if you see the number of data engineers, data scientists frequently switching jobs, even less than a year working somewhere because of frustrations kicking in, this is one of the key aspects. And convincing the leadership.
It's a huge challenge for us, right? Onboarding people, exactly. Invest.
And sometimes the onboarding is taking months, maybe even half a year, and then they're gone again. So this is quite a big challenge. I think, Alin, you probably know the same story.
Yeah. I mean, the fluctuation within this very field, especially in Central Europe, or I would say even DACH realm, is quite given. So and very frequent, but nonetheless, on a higher level, like on a when you have the big picture in your mind, injecting enterprise thought of data strategy into C level. Yeah, there are several like challenges, right? First of all, most of them, or many times, they are not aware even what this could mean. So
Mhm.
this have been has been job of ours to make them about like clear about the vision we are actually following by implementing a holistic data strategy that covers not only governance, not only the, I would say, entire A to Z data value chain, but much more as well the business creation side. And the production side at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah.
it's a whole chain of things that you have to cover and transform in a language to upper management that they understand, and make an investment in those very fields. Because I mean, I for myself I'm working in a certain strategic position, but it's always have been tough, and it has got more tougher in these days, because companies are not, especially throughout the crisis, I saw not only in the Lufthansa and other like mid-sized companies or bigger corporates, that people are not investing anymore, or not willing to invest in upcoming near future in that very topic, which is very crucial,
Mhm.
right? For everything that belongs to process automation. When you want to dehumanize, yesterday we talked about a little bit about this very topic, like AI-driven dehumanization of decision making, for instance. We had Wolfgang and Alexander from academia and from No Center as well, from MIT. Alexander was from MIT, and Wolfgang was from No Center. So we had a couple of like discussions about those topics. So what are you seeing currently? Because you're not only changing, but you have as well a bigger picture of the whole like CE market, I would say. So what are the upcoming like trends, and what is going on specifically right now
Mhm.
in the crisis regarding this topic?
Yeah, I mean, it's multifold, I would say. So first of all, what I always try to emphasize on big data analytics, data strategy, it's not only a technical item to solve. I mean, given the technology is, I would say, in a lot of fields mature, especially if we talk about the cloud. So the big public cloud providers, they are providing a huge tool set which are ready to use at your fingertips, serverless and everything. So there are a lot of governance tools around, and they are ready to use. The thing is, it's not a technical question so much. It's
Mhm.
often an organizational question, a people's question, and eventually setting the expectations right. Because if you talk about data, it's easily coming into the problem that it's the sexy thing to do. Everybody wants to do and work in data. However, there's so many expectations from C-level that it's going to solve all their problems. However, it does not. It's data is just something which could help solving problems, but if the processes around it are not properly set, if the organization does not know how to deal with data, it doesn't solve any problem. You can hire the best data scientists, the best data engineers. You can give them a high salary. You can make them you can try to make them happy to work. But if the everything around it does not properly pay into it, then it's getting some kind of an issue. That's why it's very important to set the expectations right. That on the one hand side,
Yeah.
if you ignore the data topics, if you ignore being active in the field of data, you will fall back behind your competitor. That's pretty obvious. And doing things with data is in the first run just important to keep up with your competitors. They might be the traditional competitors, but also unicorn startups that's going to challenge your entire way of business. So it's very important to set the expectations right. You're not going to solve the millions, the hundreds of millions of euros within the company by applying data. But if you do not invest in it, you will fall behind your competition, and this will have an impact on your P&L. And this is difficult to
Yeah.
measure because whenever a CEO is asking me, what do we get out of it? It's you can't tell them, okay, I'll give you 3% of your EBITDA. It simply does not play, and this is some kind of an issue. So
Yeah. Maybe I would a little bit like to build a bridge between the topics we had on the table yesterday, and even got a couple of questions after yesterday's session in LinkedIn about like a general kind of DevOps strategy, because what I saw or what I'm seeing right now, it's might be on a very like fundamental level. I don't want to have a big discussion around it, but still the topic of having like DevOps or even concepts as no ops, where you just erase all the productionizing topics, because that is like one of the major blocker. Even nowadays, we know from our previous projects at some banks, and when you were at Microsoft, for instance, like we had all the time the issue of productionizing, which is, even nowadays going hand in hand with all the complications around implementing AI solutions, right? So this is nothing new to us. Actually, the topic of enterprise data strategy have been there for many years and on several levels, but the topic of DevOps, are you currently thinking? Like, because the barrier are still there. You develop a data model, you use the data in your use cases and day-to-day projects, but whenever we are taking regard of the productionizing, maintaining the model itself, or keeping it alive somehow, train it day-to-day fresh data, it has been a huge challenge ever since. So I heard of the concept of no ops, like erasing the DevOps completely out of bigger corporates to emphasize more data driven on every level of the company. It could be a new thing as well, a fresh idea to solve a lot of our challenges, right?
Yeah, mentioning the project which we were doing together, Alin, I think that's
Oh
the
Lord.
we got to know each other. You gave me a lot of sleepless nights. Thanks for that. But like the concept of no ops, yes, I would absolutely love it if we could have no ops. The concept of DevOps, it would be great. That it's the problem is it's often a concept which is tough to implement, because whatever you do in a large organization, you can simply not ignore the fact that there is legacy, and legacy will not go away because the companies have been here, the
Yeah.
IT infrastructure has been here for decades, and it was growing. And companies were merging with others. So ignoring the fact is really challenging, and that's the painful way. You can ease up a lot of things by applying the cloud, by not building your own data lake, by going for advanced tools and services such as serverless. You can start with easy POCs, demonstrate that it's feasible, but then the tough way of implementing it, that's really challenging. You have to change the
Yeah.
IT. For this is not something which you can achieve within 2 days
Yeah.
work. Like, yes, of course, DevOps is awesome. We all want to do it. Challenging to achieve. We have to go this way. There is absolutely no other way, because we have to reduce ops. And I hate ops. I really hate it because it doesn't bring value. So I like the concept of no ops. And for doing POCs, it's really easy to do something on a
Yeah.
serverless environment, to spin up your Spark instances. Hopefully don't even have to maintain
Yeah.
any clusters, run the machine learning models in the cloud. That's really super sexy, but you always have to bring the data there, which is often a challenging task to work with the IT, because IT is trying not to give away the data for various reasons. And there are also a lot of threats associated with that, because if the data engineers are free to play on AWS or Azure, for instance, they might work with reduced security, just because it's so easy to do things there. So if we talk about DevOps, I would rather say secure DevOps, SecDevOps, which is probably a good approach. However, I think that's the only way forward. The only way forward is to constantly work on reducing ops.
Yeah, of
Make it,
course. And
it's a process. It's not going from today and tomorrow
it,
we are done.
it's a journey, as they say. I mean, it has been the major topic which gave as well me a lot of sleepless nights, not caused by you, but eventually it is like one of the biggest challenges still, and it could be a like strategic goal of bigger corporates, but not only bigger corporates, but as well smaller startups who are starting their business now, want to become data driven and building up a business that is solid. It is something as well for them, right?
Mhm.
So it's working on both sides. But now, what is your current take on the topic of, because you are a big data expert, big data specialist? I know how deep you are in those topics, but still, the quality data quality issue is a strategic thing still going on since ever since, right? So whenever you are trying to leverage several data sets or knowledge from several data sets which are harmonized in a different way, you have been working for a bigger group now, you know how the organization within each country have their own data standards, data sets that cannot be used with each other. So on a higher level, the question I am burning to ask you is, what do you think that big data lakes are still a strategic thing, or are they like becoming, as I would wish, more and more like to a state of classical warehouses where you have more standards, where you have more going on not only data quality side but as well harmonization side. So what is your take on that like topic?
So when we talk about data governance, data quality in combination with the data lake, there's absolutely no way around it. The thing is, when you start now analyzing data, which is of poor quality, you will get really poor decisions and bad quality decisions. So data quality management, data governance is very important. There are a lot of tools out there, again, which solve the problem from a technical point of view. It just has to be implemented on the one hand side. It's even more challenging to get budgets for that, because
Yeah,
the CEO will always ask, what do you get out of a good data
what's
quality?
the business case, right? What am I getting,
There's
right?
no case around it. There's no case, because you cannot build a case for not having an IT in your company. What's the
Yeah,
business case about the IT? Okay, well, you don't significantly improve your revenue, I would expect. It's causing costs. I would rather ask, what's the downside? What are we losing in comparison to our competitors? Companies which are really successful in their data strategy, often rather startups, they are disrupting the economy. They are disrupting current and established companies. If you are not investing into data quality, your company will be disrupted as well. And you will never ever have the chance to catch up if you don't start right away, because others are then smarter than you are. And intelligence is the only thing which counts. And if you have good decisions, and if you can make decisions based on good data quality, your company will succeed. And there are a lot of challenges in the future. The markets will consolidate. Just look at, for instance, Germany, where a small startup, N26, is challenging Deutsche Bank. And Deutsche Bank has no idea how to deal with them.
yeah,
And where
yeah.
Tesla is the most valuable brand now in terms of cars in the world, more valuable than Volkswagen, Mercedes, and BMW together, because they know how to deal with data. And this is
Exactly.
a huge competitive advantage. You cannot measure it.
Yeah, of course, it was their head start as well, right? It was their head start to start up with a new business
Yeah.
and have the data ecosystem pretty much in the cloud and as well split up in a manner that they can handle it, while bigger corporates, legacy corporates as Volkswagen, are actually fighting to get rid of the legacy itself and making it somehow work. It's we have a stitched like system we put together out of like heavy pain, and it's working somehow. That's the impression I get all the time from bigger European corporates that are dealing with data. So as an expert, I mean, I would be very interested. Did you say something? Sorry, maybe I interrupted you,
There are
Mario.
some questions from the audience, so I don't
I,
know how.
I Apparently, Alex, if you hear it, there is a question. Yeah.
One from
Um,
Jane.
Yeah, there's two questions.
um, can
It
you
is
see
one
the
in,
question?
yeah,
Apparently, I can see only one. Yeah.
yeah, and there is one in the chat.
So, Mario, can you see the question?
Yes, I could probably read them.
Okay, I can read it. So
So,
first is, hi Mario from Gillian Augustine. Hi Mario, I totally agree with the challenges you mentioned. What are your tips and tricks for dealing with challenging the stakeholders?
so hi, Jill. We know each other from our common A1 time, so I absolutely know whom you're focusing on, or what people. Well, I would say there is no silver bullet because the thing which differentiates technology from people is if you have a software system, you might expect it to behave in a certain way. If you're dealing with people, everybody is so different. So dealing with challenging stakeholders, well, that's rocket science, I would say, and data science can't solve this topic. The thing is, you need to listen to the people. What are their motivations? What I figured out in the last 2.5, 3 years is that the motivation why people are challenging is not often why they pretend to be challenging, because they might fear losing something. They might not see themselves being included. They might not see themselves, they have some fear of the technology. They have some fear of getting irrelevant. So there are so many fears you have to address. And eventually this is this is very difficult to answer because it always depends on the person. And you have to try to solve as much as possible fact-based, and then maybe the 50% of the challenges are gone, and the other 50% are like non-fact-based, I'm afraid of, whatever. So this is difficult to solve. It requires a lot of time to talk to the people, to get an access to the people who are challenging and blocking things. Eventually it's difficult to find out why and what's the motivation behind why they are blocking something specific, like access to data, like not cooperating on a specific item or on a specific project. So the only advice I can give you is not getting into the fight with them, but trying to understand why their standpoint is at a certain point, and then deal with them in a friendly way. And if there is no other chance, if they're still not cooperating, and I would say 60 to 70% start cooperating at some point in time, if you give them the chance to be part of it. With the other 30%, you still simply have to work with escalation, with hierarchy. That's then the only way how to solve problems, unfortunately.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a second question as well. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
It's from Slavica Ivanovic, and she asked, a data-driven organization implies existence of data strategy and data-aware and educated employees. But even if you have this as a condition, qua non, for successful data analytics implementation, there's always a change management issue. How high do you evaluate reluctance to change management as an obstacle, especially in big companies?
Yeah, so in terms of strategy and educating people, we invested quite a lot in educating people, so to solve this in the first run. In terms of change management in large organizations, that's a really dramatic thing to do, because change management is an issue which I would say we haven't solved day one, and which is still an ongoing issue, because people still do this and work the same as they have done before. There was also some change applied to them via Corona now, so that people have to work and think different and have to trust the digital tools more. But eventually, changing processes, how companies are doing, how companies are selling, how companies are targeting their customers, applying a big data technology and doing the same campaigning as before, or buying a new campaigning software doesn't change anything. It has to be a complete rethink of how you do your business. And this is the most challenging part afterwards. You can do quite a lot with data, enrich how you're currently doing business, But if you don't change your setup and your approach of how you're dealing with within your call center, within your shops and stuff like that, it does not change much.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, and a very good ending, I would at the same time say. I mean, Alex, we had 2 minutes more, so we are absolutely on time, right?
Yeah, we can have this
Um,
question, one additional, yeah.
Yeah, so we actually have another question as I see in the Q&A, but I guess Mario had already like answered it, because it's about finding the right balance between informed decision from data and other political and strategic considerations. So you have pretty much answered it. Alex, would you like to add something, or should we close here?
No, you can continue with
Yeah,
this
so yeah,
question.
thank you. Because maybe because I'm not seeing all the questions. So Mario, thank you a lot for joining us today. Looking forward into near future to more and more cooperation. And you are already part of our society, and as well like the data science community. Looking forward to meet you as well in Belgrade. Hopefully by then everything will be fine, and best and good luck for your new position. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Alex. Thank you. Have a
Thanks.
nice
Bye bye.
friends. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, basically the next